Just hit with the camera.
Oh, you need a camera too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With the camera also.
Okay, I get it to you.
Yeah, so you can see it. So yeah, we good.
Okay. Oh, what happened? Okay. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It is now 1 p.m., so we're about to start the Offerors Conference for the PACE program. So, PACE stands for Program for All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly, and it is Georgia's first rollout or first phase for the PACE program. I am the issuing officer, Azia Hirome, and I work in the Office of Procurement Services for DCH. This is our agenda. We're gonna go over the meeting rules, overview of the agency, and an overview of the RFP for the PACE program. Then we'll go into the schedule of events, required documents, how to register and respond to a bid, and that will be, I'll pass that over to DOAS, Osborne Johnson, who's on the line, and then closing remarks, and then we'll have time for questions and answers. The purpose of DCH is to shape the future of a healthy Georgia by improving access and ensuring quality to strengthen the communities we serve. So this meeting is to provide a general overview of the RFP process, to tell you about what is the required documents, how to navigate the system, which is very important, and to tell you how to submit your questions and any other rules or policies that may apply during the solicitation process. The meeting rules. So it is imperative that you respect the procurement process and do not speak with other staff members, DCH staff members, about this procurement. So all emails and questions should be directed to the PACE RFP box, which is mentioned in the attachment A, and also is in this slide. We ask that the state of Georgia staff do not speak to the suppliers. They should direct the suppliers to me, the issuing officer. The state will attempt to answer any questions that is relative to the RFP. There's the attachment in the document that's subtitled Q&A. Please, when you're putting your questions in there, please reference the section or the document that you have a question about, so that when we are answering the questions, we can consolidate them, and other suppliers, when they read the answer, they can know what section what your specific question is about. The overview. So the Department of Community Health is the lead agency for healthcare planning, purchasing, and oversight in Georgia. So Medicare comes through us, Medicaid, Medicare. The department's Division of Medical Assistance Plan is responsible for this solicitation, so that is the business owner. As the largest division, it approximately serves 2.7 million Georgia and oversees program administration for funding of all Georgia Medicaid and Children's Health Insurance Program. So the PACE RFP overview. So I'll just read this. This is also found in the attachment A. It seeks to establish a PACE program in multiple service regions in the state of Georgia. The regions are defined in attachment A. We have rolled phase 2 into phase 1 for this rollout. So expect to see those regions included. The goal is to obtain the most qualified organization that will serve these regions through a competitive process. Awarded suppliers will be granted permission to begin the PACE application process with CMS, which is the Center of Medicare and Medicare. And it will result in a 3-year contract between Georgia, the supplier, and CMS. They will be expected to immediately initiate the PACE application process with CMS for approval of a PACE site covering the population of the awarded service region, subject to CMS approval. Again, please read attachment A carefully because it stipulates that once you're awarded this RFP, you will have to begin preparing to establish a PACE center in Georgia while CMS is reviewing your application to be approved. So during that time, expenses will be upon the supplier. The awarded supplier will have to provide financing to establish a fully operational PACE center with the required professional resources at their own expense until they receive approval from CMS to start receiving payment from CMS/DCH. This procurement proposal for service regions and permits submission for special health focused service regions, which that is defined in attachment A. So that is like I said, is a special health focused region that allows for consideration of certain circumstances for the population that is being served. There are 13 core regions for Georgia, and they have zip codes outlined in. So when you submit your bid, also please notate there's an attachment that speaks to the region. Please speak to what region your submission is for. So if you're submitting for 5 regions, you would need to fill out all the attachments for each region that you're submitted to. So that is the keynote. Schedule of event. So the RFP was posted on April 4, 2025 at 3 p.m. And then this is the Offerors conference that is begun at 1 p.m. Due date for written questions. That is April 17, 2025. So that's a Thursday. By 5 p.m., your questions should be submitted again to the PACE mailbox, to the PACE ERFP mailbox, and you can find that address in attachment A. Then it will give us 8 days to be able to review and respond to all the questions. Again, please, when you're writing down your questions, please reference the attachment and the section that you're referencing. I know we have a lot of attachments. This not only helps us to answer your questions specifically, but it also helps when other suppliers are reviewing the document to be able to know if that question is the same question that they're asking or wanted to ask. The proposal due date is May 8, 2025 at 3 p.m. Again, please submit your proposals, responses before that deadline so that you are not hit with any system outage or internet outage. I'm sure Mr. Osborne will talk about it later on. So required documents. There are required documents to be submitted. I made it easy for the suppliers to know which documents are required upon submission. That means which documents you have to upload to the system before that deadline in May 8th. So attachment N is the attachment submission checklist. Again, as I referenced, if you're bidding on multiple core regions or special service regions, you have to submit a whole package for each region or special service region that you want to bid on. So please keep that in mind. If you just submit one, it will only count for one region. So there's the mandatory response worksheet. So these 2 worksheets that I'm going to talk about are, if you don't include them, you are automatically failed and are not seen as responsive. So this is the mandatory response worksheet. And in this, you must answer yes to the questions. Any no response will result in disqualification. Questions include general capabilities, support, and experience. Please upload requested attachments to the procurement system. So I don't know if you can see over here, there's some attachments labeled. So these attachments are, again, part of those attachment documents from A to W in the solicitation package. So please fill those out and submit those. So if you've used attachment N, as I stated earlier, then you'll be all right. Now, this is the mandatory score response worksheet. So this is where you have to write basically an essay or a response that is detailed and narrative for each of our questions. As you can see, so this is the actual screenshot of attachment E. And so, as you can see, this is the first question. It has multiple parts. You must address each part when you're responding. Otherwise, your score will not be seen as adequate enough. So in the response, the supplier must indicate whether they will meet the individual requirements and provide a supporting narrative and any requested supplemental attachments as specified. To be considered responsible and eligible for award, suppliers must meet the requirements identified in the mandatory score response worksheet. Again, that just means you must answer each part of the question. So if it has multiple parts, not answering one part will make your score less than adequate. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Osborne Johnson, and he's from DOS, and he's going to tell you how to navigate the system to respond to the bid. Osborne,
Thank you,
on?
EZ. Appreciate that. Great introduction. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for attending this Offerors conference today for the paid solicitation. Just so everyone is clear, to be a successful supplier with the state of Georgia, one would definitely have to register on our Team Georgia Marketplace application. I will show you that during the demonstration, but our main focus today is on how to respond to that event. If I can get a thumbs up or a hand clap as I start to share my screen, you'll see lead, empower, and collaborate on the screen. Let's make sure that everyone can see that. Great. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. I'm going to come off camera so we can focus on the screen. So you can type in and use any web browser of your choosing, but you want to type in doas.ga.gov, which will bring you to the Department of Administrative Services website. If you've been here in the past, you've noticed that we've had a little bit of a refresh. So you'll see lead, empower, and collaborate, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to see services by division, and we're going to come to the option that says state purchasing. We're going to click on the link that says information for suppliers. We're going to come down on this page where we're going to see quick links by category. You're going to see bidder registration and getting started, and we're going to click on the option that says understanding bids and contracts. There are a number of ways to get to Team Georgia Marketplace and the Georgia Procurement Registry from our DOAS website. But for the sake of our demonstration, we're going to click on the link under bid opportunities. As you can see on the right-hand side, related resources, there is a link to take you to the Georgia Procurement Registry and a link to take you to the Team Georgia Marketplace application to complete that registration process and to also sign in and respond to this event. Okay, so let's click on the Georgia Procurement Registry under bid opportunities. And our GPR is a free web-based advertising system for events. Please pay particular attention to the announcements that are on the main page of the Georgia Procurement Registry. We've got 3 of them listed here. You would just click on the down arrow to open those announcements up. But please read through those because as you can see, there's a state holiday that will be in the month of April. We're on the left-hand side, we're on the left-hand panel. You'll see that we're under bidding event search right now. We're going to come back to that option. You'll see there's a supplier search where the buyers of the state of Georgia can come here and search for suppliers that are registered on Team Georgia Marketplace by their NIGP code or by their business classification, if they're a small business, veteran-owned, etc. The NIGP search, you can come here and complete and search for your NIGP code for your profile. So if we just typed services and clicked on search, we would get an NIGP code list that would provide us with a 5-digit NIGP code that you could utilize on your profile and to update your NIGP codes if needed, or you can use this code to register. Not saying this is the code for this solicitation, but this is how you can find your NIGP code. So if my company has science and research services that were military related, I would use the NIGP code 25777. Okay, back over to the left-hand side panel, you'll see Georgia Certified Suppliers. We've got a link to the Team Georgia Marketplace supplier and bidder portal, and then we have our GPR buyer login. Let's click back on bidding event search. And we're going to come to our event search criteria. We're going to type in our search keyword. I'm going to type in pace. As you can see, I used that before. I can change my event status to open or all. Let's change it to all. And then we're just going to use the search. What will come up are all events with the keyword of pace in the title. We're going to scroll down so we see our event listed here, which that event ID is 41900-DCH00000139. The event title is Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly, PACE. The government entity is Department of Community Health. That most important end date, May 8th, 2025 at 5 p.m. This event closes in 27 days and it has a status of open. So please submit your bid early. Let's go back over to the left-hand side panel the left-hand side where we can click on that hyperlink, which will bring us to the event details page on the Georgia Procurement. We're going to give you that event ID information again, the entity, and then the buyer contact information. So as you can see, there's a most important email address listed here. As easy as mentioned earlier, this is an email that you're going to utilize when you're posing your questions and when you have to return that Q&A attachment. So we're going to give you a description of this event. And when you scroll down, you'll see the NIGP codes that are associated with this solicitation. Okay, those are those NIGP codes that I spoke about when you try to do an NIGP search. Let's scroll back up. On the right-hand side, you see what we've highlighted. We have highlighted that end date, May 8, 2025 at 5 p.m. So please submit your bid early. It is very important to submit your bid early and don't wait until the last second. Let's go back over. We're going to click on Documents where you can view the attachments for the solicitation by choosing the Documents tab. And choosing the Respond to Event tab, you'll see we have listed here for you a quick reference guide. So if you get stuck or you can't find this recording, you don't have the PowerPoint, you can actually click on the quick reference guide to respond to the event as well. It's not this particular event, but we give you steps on how to respond accordingly to an event. Let's click to submit your response. This is going to bring us to the Team Georgia Marketplace application. As I mentioned, you do want to register if you have not registered your company on the application. So you'll see this user registration option. If you're uncertain of how to register, you'll choose this option to see if your company is already registered in the system. But if not, you'll click on Register Now. Register Now has 5 steps: welcome, identifying information, addresses, contacts, and submission. So the welcome, we're trying to find out about your business. So you're going to give us a tax identification number along with your entity name. You'll add your NIGP codes here, and we'll get some information to see if you're a small business or not. That address information is your email address, and that's how you're going to receive the notifications from buyers of the state, your contacts, and then you'll submit. You're going to validate all that information, and you will be registered in the system. You will not receive an email confirmation. You'll just be able to log in accordingly. All right, bear with me one moment as I log in to my account. Definitely appreciate your patience. So let's return. Sorry, I just changed my password because it was time for a password change. All right, so we logged in. Your page may look a little bit differently based on how you may have registered already. Maybe a supplier already in the system. But we're going to click on the tile that says Bidding Opportunities. We'll wait for that to load. Please remember to submit your bid early. We're on the Bidding Opportunities page in Team Georgia Marketplace. You'll see bidding event information, so invited events. These are events that your company may have been invited to already. You'll see public events. Public events are events that may have some type of NIGP code that's associated with your company. You may want to respond to it. So let's scroll down, and here, we'll see if we see our solicitation, which is listed here. Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly, PACE. But if you don't see it under invited events or public events, you could choose the filter. We can go to event name contains. Let's see if we can type in PACE, hit return, and that event will come back as well. So 3 ways: invited, public, or use the filter to locate this event. You can click anywhere on this line to go to the event. Remember that most important end date, 5/8/2025 at 5 p.m. So please submit your bid early. We clicked on the line. We've come to the event details page on Team Georgia Marketplace. Once again, we're going to give you the description, the event information, but on the right-hand side, you'll see accept invitation. So you're going to click on accept invitation. You're going to get an invitation accepted pop-up green box, and then we're going to click on bid on event. That will now bring us to the event details page on Team Georgia Marketplace. You're going to have your supplier or bidder information here on the right-hand side. You'll see submit bids, save for later, cancel, and validate entries. Taking that scroll bar all the way down to the bottom, you're going to also see submit bid, save for later, and validate entries. Okay. So scrolling back up, we're going to give you a description of the event. The most important end date, 5/8/2025 at 5 p.m. So please submit your bid early. We've got a step one, answer general event questions. So we got 19 questions to answer. So please, as easy as mentioned earlier, to read through the solicitation carefully, read through these questions as well. This is a live event. So I'm just going to answer so we can get through these questions. This first one attached, well, it's not the first one, but you see this one that says attachment W supplier responsibility questionnaire. You're going to have to provide an attachment with that. So you'll click on that link. You'll click on upload. You're going to choose your file. I'm just going to grab any file from my desktop. Once it loads. And upload that, and then you're going to name it under attachment description. And you'll click OK. All right, let's go down. Let's answer all the questions. Remember to read through each one of these questions accordingly. When you come to the can your company be classified as minority-owned business, please click on select response. You're going to get a pop-up head bid factor list window. You can read the definition, click return to go back, choose whatever is applicable for your company. Remember to read through these questions carefully. Eight. Remember, it's 19 of those. Remember, you got to click some attachments as well. Okay, interline bid responses. We've got the services here. All right, we're going to enter your unit bid price here. Easy, just validate this for me. We're just having the supplier enter 1.00 here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. For each one of these, line 1, 2, and 3, please just enter 1.00. It's just a holding pattern for the questions. Okay, remember, validate entries is at the top or the bottom. So I'm going to click validate entries, and I've got a message at the top of the page. Let's click OK. Okay, let's scroll up. I missed question number 5. Let's click validate entries again. No errors found. So once you accept the invitation, bid on event, and come to the event details page, complete step 1. Step 2, you want to receive the pop-up window that says no errors found, okay? And you'll click OK. Let's scroll back all the way down to the bottom. Right above submit bid and save for later, you're going to see event comments and attachments, and this is going to bring us to the attachments for the solicitation. As Easy mentioned earlier, there are a number of attachments for the solicitation. As you can see, it's 25 attachments. What you will have to do is use both scroll bars on this page to see all the attachments. Okay, you have to use both scroll bars to see them. As you can see, for each line, attachment A, you'll see view. So for each one of the attachments, there is a view option. So what you'll do is click on view, Once this document opens, I'll bring it over for you. You'll click Enable Editing. You'll read through all the questions accordingly, and then you'll answer, and then you'll save your document. We do recommend you creating a folder on your desktop or wherever you may house your documents for the solicitation. So it'll be one easy place to locate them when you're ready to upload those documents using attachment N for your checklist. So let's go to my desktop. Let's go to my folder for paste. And we're just going to drop that in there. Let's close this out. All right. You're going to do that 25 times. I will not bore you today and go do view 25 times for you, but you understand what you must do. You got to click on view, enable editing. You want to save it. And remember, you're going to use attachment N, attachment submission checklist for the documents that you need to upload for this event. Okay? Let's scroll all the way down. When you're ready to start uploading your documents, you'll see add new attachments on this page. You'll click upload, just like we did on the bid factor section. You'll choose your document. Let's go to my desktop. Let me find my paste folder. And then I'm going to start to upload my documents. I'm going to name it. And then when I'm ready to upload another document, I can click add new attachments. Then I'm going to click upload. And choose my file. You have to leave, you're doing other work for your company, you have to come back to this document, just click on save for later and come back. And then you want to continue working. If you're ready to submit, you can submit your event as often as you like up until that close date, but the last bid submitted will be the bid that will be evaluated by the evaluation team. Okay, let's do one more document. Say, for instance, you're talking on the phone, trying to resolve something, and then you inadvertently upload a duplicate document. You see, I already uploaded attachment D. I don't need to keep this document. On the right-hand side of that same line, I can click delete, and that will remove that document from my list of documents. So remember, you want to upload here, you make an error, you can use the delete option to remove that document. On this same page, you see, please let me add new comments. So please do not enter any comments here. The state of Georgia participates in a closed seal bid process. So these comments or questions that you may type here will not be read until the bid is closed. So you want to utilize that Q&A document to pose all your questions to the issuing officer using that email address that he has referred to earlier in the presentation. Okay, remember the deadline for your written questions is April 17th at 5 p.m. So remember to use that Q&A document, which is attachment V. Okay, all right. So let's click OK. You're well before I got to submit my bid time and you're ready to submit your bid. Remember, submit your bid is at the bottom and the top of this page. You click submit bid. What you're going to get is a bid confirmation page. You're going to get the bid information that you have submitted, the attachments for the solicitation, along with the date that you submitted your solicitation, which is well before that end date of 5/8/2025. Please submit your bid early. But you want to, as a recommendation, I would compare the list of attachments that I have uploaded on for this bid compared to attachment N that EZ has referred to. That is your bid checklist, that attachment N. Okay, that's your attachment submission checklist, attachment N. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to come off camera. We're going to do a quick recap, and then I'm going to turn it back over to EZ. And once again, we really thank you for your patience today and attending the Offerors conference. But we've gone to doas.ga.gov. We went to information for suppliers. We came to the Georgia Procurement Registry. I showed you where you can locate your NIGP codes, but we did a search for the solicitation by using the keyword PACE. we clicked on submit your response to come to the Team Georgia Marketplace application. So we are able to accept the invitation, then clicked on bid on event, where we're able to locate our step 1, step 2 on our event details page on Team Georgia Marketplace. Please read through all of those questions thoroughly and answer accordingly. And I showed you how to upload your attachment on that bid factor section. When we scroll down to the bottom, we found event comments and attachments, where we were able to locate the attachments for the solicitation. You want to click on view, use both your scroll bars to locate all those 25 attachments. You're going to download them wherever you need to download them. And then I showed you how to upload your attachments that you have to action on that same page. Remember, don't add any comments on that document page because they will not be seen by the issuing officer until the event closes. We've submitted our bid. It will show you the bids, the documents that you have submitted for the solicitation, along with the timestamp that you submitted your bid. Okay, please submit your bid early. If you do run into any technical issues, please reach out to our procurement help desk at procurementhelp@doas.ga.gov, or you can contact them via phone at 404-657-6000. Thank you once again for attending today, and I'm going to turn it back over to EC.
Thank you, Oz. Okay. All right. So I want to address the question that Allison Greer posed. There was an error in the scheduled event, the proposal due date. So the time is 5 p.m. It's stated 3 p.m. on here, but please refer to what is stated on the GPR and in the attachment 8 document. So the GPR is the time stated there was 5 p.m. So I've corrected this. I hope that answers your question. So as Osborne says, remember attachment N. So what I would do if you were submitting for multiple regions is get your attachment N and then download all the copies on the attachment N however many times you need. So if you're doing 4 regions, then download just copy 4 times. And so that way, and create a folder for each. So that way, you know that you have all the required documents. Because what you don't want is for it to close and you don't have the required documents and you are disqualified. Again, as a quick reminder, only communicate to me, the issuing officer, and please use the PACE ARF inbox because that is the inbox that Open Records will pull from. So do not email me directly, email the PACE ARFP inbox. Feel free to CC my email, but make sure that that is the email that you're addressing. Submit your bid responses early. Again, like I stated earlier, you know, you can have an internet outage, you can have computer problems, bandwidth problems, or, you know, unforeseen circumstances such as, you know, TGM going down or having problems. And in addition, you know, DOAS help desk closes at 5. So keep that in mind. You know, if you're calling, there are multiple solicitations going on around in the state. So this is not the only solicitation. So if you're trying to call at 3 p.m. on May 8th and you find that the line is busy because, again, they're busy helping not just the solicitation, but multiple solicitations. So again, submit your proposal early, start now. For any technical issues or assistance, please contact the Team Georgia Marketplace Help Desk. And here's the number, 404-657-6000. And we'd like to thank you for attending the PACE Offers Conference. I will now open the floor for questions or comments. Please use the Q&A feature when you're typing your comments, your questions. All right. Okay, I'm glad I could help answer your question, Allison. Any more questions? Again, please type them in the Q&A section.
One question.
Okay.
If the federal government potential cuts, and I keep asking this question, I don't know if there's any answer, but do we foresee any issues with the state of Georgia moving forward with PACE and supporting it through what's going on in the federal level?
Okay, so a question in person was with what is happening with the federal government and, CMS, do we foresee a problem with funding for PACE and the continuation of PACE? And the answer is no. At this point in time, we do not foresee a problem. Any other question? Okay. Okay. Let's see, who's this? Erica, can you please type that in the Q&A so that when this closes, I can use it? Has not been implemented, this could be. Okay, so you asked this question and it has been answered and it will be released. It says the Q&A is not available. I see Allison was able to access it, so I don't know how you're not able. Okay, here we go. The document indicates that providers need to have 2-year experience in multiple states. Is that requirement correct? 2 years experience.
That's the one we already answered, correct, Easy?
Yeah. So, you said what?
Yeah, we already answered that.
Yeah, but it hasn't been released yet. So, you want me? It hasn't. The answer hasn't been released. So the answer was no. It's not.
I can do it. I can read either one of us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So we got this question earlier and we'll have it formally released, but the answer is no. You don't have to have operational experience of a PACE facility in order to apply for a PACE region in the state of Georgia. However, the reference will be for what I would call PACE-like services that you've done in other areas of business that would be applicable if you don't have PACE experience. Some, of course, will have PACE experience in multiple states and would respond in that manner. But we'll specifically have a response that an operation of a PACE facility is not a requirement.
Is there a size limit on the size of the information that can be uploaded? Contact the procurement help desk. I'm not sure what the size limit for documents uploaded is. I'm sure they will be able to help you with that. If submitting for multiple service regions is the recommendation to add the service area to the file attachment A, that would be very useful to attach, to put the service region that you're applying for in the attachment A. So yes, that will be useful. Can one operator be awarded both centers in the ACE point or only one? Attachment A says one supplier could win both centers or 2 suppliers could be awarded 1 center each. But attachment B says each point must be operated by separate organizations. So I believe that when we corrected it, we stated that it could be one supplier that could operate 2 centers. Just 2 centers must be established. Is that correct?
Yes, but I guess easy to make clear,
Uh-huh.
if they want, they have to do 2 separate applications for 2 centers because there will be competition for
Okay.
2 separate centers.
So yes, one supplier can be awarded both centers, but they will have to submit 2. They will have to submit 2 applications for that ACE point. So if you want both centers, you have to submit 2 applications. So there'll be a ACE point A and ACE point B, if that makes sense. Is the events and comments section limited only to the attachments in the RFP? So unless the question asks, if the question asks for attachments, then you can attach it in that events and comments section. So if mandatory response question, I'm giving an example here, 3 asks for attachments to be, included, then please upload those attachments there. The slide shown in attachment A. Okay, so I think I've answered that question, Allison, about the proposal due date. So it is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May 8th. Okay, so it shows it right here too. Let me correct that. Any other questions? 3 more. Hold on a second. Attachment E, question 4, requests a financial plan but asks not to provide any cost information. Can you confirm that providing requested financial projection is permissible and does not constitute cost information? Yes. So you can provide projections. And speaking of costs, I don't know if everybody has read the whole attachment A. Those rates were for that period of time when actuarial service made their calculation. Upon award, that those rates will be updated for that specific time. Lauren Polo, can you provide any additional detail possible on scoring criteria? I'm not sure what you're referring to as possible more scoring criteria. Your questions will be graded based on your responses in as defined in attachment A, section 6. Is there a breakdown as to how the scoring will be broken out for the 800 and 200 points? No, there's no breakdown that's available for the public. Just need to know that 800 points have been assigned for the mandatory score and 200 for the oral. So all the information that can be provided for the scoring has been provided in attachment A. Please add context to whom should be used as a reference for existing PACE program planning to apply. Please add context to whom should be used as a reference for existing PACE program. So that'll be other states, right?
Well, I mean, it could be service providers. It could be service providers. It could be other states that you interact with. It just depends upon your unique circumstances for what your experience is and who's providing the reference. Brian points out, I mean, to give example, you could have hospital providers, you could have city governments, you could have, that you're based upon partnerships. It could be a variety of measures as long as they're pertinent to the program.
Okay. Do we need to upload a response for attachment O if we're not proposing a special health service region? No, you do not. Speaking of, for those that are responding for the special health service region, attachment O must be uploaded. So that is only if you're responding for special health service region. Is the distance requirement of 50 miles to all corners of the service area a 50-mile radius or driving distance? So
It's a 50-mile radius to my understanding, which I mean, in any direction from the center, basically.
Okay. So 50-mile radius from where your pay center is established. Any more questions?
There was a question in regards to file size. I put it in the chat just so that everybody is aware, but it's 50 megabytes. Okay, document file names are limited to 50 characters, and documents are limited to 50 megabytes in size. Just to answer that question. Thank you.
Thank you, Oz. So there's a question. Attachment R and S are indicated as required attachments according to attachment and submission checklist. However, these two files lack any fields or signature lines. What is expected to be done with them before they're uploaded? Okay, attachment R is the state contract, and then S is the data security. So that is to inform you of our standards, our T's and C's for both data handling and data security, and then the contract. That's a standard template for the contract for the state of Georgia. If you accept them as is, then sign those documents and attach them and upload, because they will be needed. You will need to agree to those, and so it gives you an opportunity to see from the get-go what you're agreeing to. And if you need to, do red lines, then that's possible at that time during negotiations. If we want to upload a document that is not part of the attachment A to X, can we do so in support of a question? If that question in the mandatory score asks for an attachment, then yes. If it doesn't, do not make an attachment. Any more questions? Again, this meeting is being recorded so it can be played back. Attachment E, question 4, asks for a break-even analysis, but does not provide an option to upload attachments with additional information. Attachment E states that applicants should only upload documents if there is a yes in the upload attachment with additional information column. To provide additional information about a specific question, how should this break-even analysis be provided? Attachment E. Attachment E is the mandatory score, so it's a free field. You could type in the space provided and it expands. So you could put your analysis in there. Is the upload size of 50 megabytes per attachment or for the entire proposal? I believe that's for per attachment. Correct me if I'm wrong, Oz.
That's correct. Per attachment. Good question, though.
It says, please review all the questions posted. I believe some have not been answered. Okay, let's see. Could you clarify attachment H client reference? This includes a requirement for 3 years of experience providing service in the procurement. Would that be updated? Could you clarify attachment H client reference? So, Joe,
I'm sorry.
for attachment H, the client reference, it speaks to 3 years. So we should change that to not having 3 years of experience.
Well, they should still have 3 years worth. So that's in reference, as Joe talked about, in services related to PACE, those home and community-based services, or those clinic-based services, or the care services associated with becoming a PACE provider. So it's not in conflict with that question about 2 years of operating a PACE center. It's asking for your references as in being in the field of providing PACE services or PACE-related services.
Thank you. A question regarding page limit. Okay, a page limit. I don't believe there is a page limit. The form, the mandatory score, the attachment E will keep going as long as you type in from my knowledge. Any more questions? Attachment H states for each reference provided, include the governmental entity. Does this mean that we are limited to using governmental entities as references? Attachment H. Client, or the client reference form.
No, you're not limited to government entities. You could have providers, you could have others that can attest to your services.
If awarded with the PACE organization, need to be operational within 19 or 24 months. Both timeframes are stated in the RFP. Yes, within 19 to 24 months, the PACE organization will need to be operational. So the time frame is between 19 and 24 months, because we understand some people will be able to stand it up, faster than others. So any more questions? I have one below on attachment J. Can you retype that question? There's a lot that's coming, so if I miss it, please just retype it. Is a narrative response required for the mandatory response question and the additional response questions in attachment that ask for attachment J? Okay, so in the mandatory, so let me answer the first part. Mandatory response questions. Yes, those require a narrative response because that's how you answer the question. I don't know if you've reviewed it, but they ask you specific questions to your capabilities, and the only way to respond is through a narrative. And so the same thing applies for the additional response question. Additional response question that asks for attachment J. So yes, additional response questions also require a narrative because you're telling a story. So you could fill out the attachment J, which is the medical specialty services in your network, and also tell a story about either how you have that established, how you're going to establish that, how you're going to grow that. Where we will find the responses to questions that have been submitted in the form as requested, and can we submit questions in that form in advance and of April, I don't understand the last part, and of April 17th submission. So, okay, so your responses to the questions, again, according to the timeline that is in attachment A, the schedule of events. Let me go there to, oh, here we go. So yes, you can submit your questions before the April 17, 2025 period. Again, using that Q&A template and referencing the section or the attachment that you have a question about. And the responses will be released by April 25th, 5 p.m. So I think that's your question, if you can submit earlier than that. If you have all your questions, then submit them before, you can submit them before that deadline. But the responses will not be out until April 25th. And the responses will be posted where all these attachments that you got them from. So there will be, what will happen will be a version change, and I will attach the responses to the Q&A. And so it will become an attachment. So it will be responses to Q&A. A separate proposal is required for each service area, but the Team Georgia Marketplace says that multiple bids are not allowed. How should multiple proposals be submitted? So multiple, in that regard, is speaking to you coming in through different profiles. If you're applying using the same profile, you're just gonna attach your files that speaks to each region. So as someone stated, would it be wise to include the zones that you're applying for? Yeah, so it's not multiple bidding because you're responding to each category. What it means by that is like trying to come in under different aliases or DBAs to submit your responses. Could you please clarify the expected time frame associated with the requirement to immediately initiate the CMS application process upon award? Okay. You get a question?
It's just as soon as you were awarded that you would be ready to move forward with the CMS application, that you're not going to have some elongated delay that would make it an unfair competition where we had judged and awarded you the region over someone else and then have like a, month's delay and then that it not occur.
So within a month?
I'm hesitant to put a time frame, but I mean, it's, as soon as practical. I mean,
Again, these questions will be included in the Q&A, so once it's over, I will source them into the Q&A document as part of the other Q&A questions that you ask. So if you miss it, you can also replay this meeting and you could listen to the answer, but it will also be included in the Q&A. How can PACE services commence in fiscal year 2026 if the earliest award happens in October of 2025 and 19 months thereafter is April fiscal year 2027? So you want to answer that?
Yes, so, I mean, the 19 months is from the point in time of which you would be awarded and available to do that. So, I mean, it may not be in fiscal year 26. It depends upon which time you're awarded and CMS agrees, and then that would be the starting point from that point forward that you would be eligible to start. So, you know, depending upon how long CMS takes to respond and all the things, it might not be in 26. That's just an example provided there. There's, as many of you know, there is, at this point in time, you can only submit to CMS at the end of each quarter, as I recall. So there are timeframes within that itself that will limit when you can submit and how you can move forward. So it's just really the 19 months is a guide to that from whatever point is eligible.
Could you please explain the rationale for excluding specific county zip codes from the defined service region? Is there an opportunity to propose inclusion of these excluded zip codes, or are they explicitly restricted from participation?
Yes, so the zip codes that are advertised are specifically set in the manner to address the population that's eligible for PACE within the 50-mile radius of a center within that jurisdiction. So our contractor has outlined and done demographic and algorithms along with time and distance to make sure that every zip code within could be met within a PACE center, with the exception of East Point, where it's been determined that there's enough density that there could and should be 2 centers given those zip code arrangements. It's purposeful that we do not include zip codes beyond that region because they would not fall in the time and distance or they don't have adequate population that would significantly improve the region. So we'll look at other regions that would adjoin these potentially in the future, provided that there's population and density and all the things to justify centers in those regions. But this is the best possible solution that we have for a region to create and give the center that's awarded adequate population to meet its financial objectives and serve that community.
Okay. What is the status of Georgia's SPA?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah,
The state plan amendment has gone through the board process and it's drafted. It's in the process right now being submitted to CMS. We don't anticipate any delays or concerns with the state plan amendment.
Any more questions? Where and when will the meeting recording be accessible? So this should process today, and then we will have our webmaster posted on the webpage. So the same area where you saw the town hall notice. And I believe you should still be able to access it in the chat through here. I believe so, but we will also post it on the DCH webpage. Any other questions? I know we're a little bit over time, so I'm going to wait 1 more minute and then I will end the meeting. Again, if you have questions, the question, as you can see on the screen, you have till April 17th, 5 p.m. to submit your questions, so don't feel rushed. Can you tell us anything about the evaluation committee? No, I cannot. Okay. So thank you for attending the PACE Offers Conference. Thank you for all your questions and your attention. Again, please use the question and answer template when you are drafting your question, and please reference the attachment and the section in the attachment so that when we're answering, we know specifically what you are referring to. Thank you again, and have a good day.
Thank you.